very special episode today. We're joined by the entire coaching staff for the San Antonio Gunslingers, short of one member who's won't be able to join us today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Super excited to have you guys on today. We got a lot of big news to talk about, other than the fact that we have this all-star coaching staff you've assembled. You guys also recently announced a move over to the Indoor Football League, which I'm sure you all have thoughts on. And I would love to start there if that's okay with you guys. But before we get to that, I would love to hear each coach go around and kind of give the audience where they were at before this and what made them decide to be with the Gunslingers. And if you don't mind, we'll start with Coach Manas.
If I'd have known what I known, right, it was an easy pick at the end of the day. Don Rackler and James Stubing, the ownership group, are absolutely fantastic. They're driven. They're invested. They have one common goal, and that's to be successful and have a long-term franchise for the people of San Antonio. They're very community driven, but don't look past the idea of putting together championship caliber football in San Antonio. So, it was, if I was a girl, they'd call me easy. Okay. So it was a pretty easy decision, right? It was one of those where I just said, yeah, it's a great fit and they're great people. And then of course these guys are what make it really great. So I'm just blessed to have each and every one of them.
Absolutely. Coach Johnson, why don't you go ahead and give us what brought you to San Antonio?
Well, of course, Coach Manas giving me the opportunity, giving me the call. My man, right hand, Coach Fuller, I guess gave him to talk to him about me, and Coach gave me a call. And San Antonio was a second home to me. I was there at one point in time, familiar with the city, and glad to be a part of this staff and looking to doing some great things.
Coach Fuller, I'm really interested to hear your answer for this one. You were the head coach of the Carolina Cobras last season, led them a championship, and here you are taking a position with the Gunslingers. What led you to this position?
Well, I mean, you're always looking for opportunities to, coach with different people and different places. Me, myself, and Carolina just didn't see eye to eye with the way they're going with things now. The NAL basically being the CIF now, doing things a little different than I would want to do them. We had an amicable split. Wish them the best. I wish coaching Jerome the best. But, just not something that I don't think they wanted me to deal with. And I didn't want to deal with it as well. So, I got respect for John Kane there in Carolina and for the Cobra Nation. But being able to get to San Antonio right now and be with Manas and a great coaching staff is going to be it's going to be fun. I'm always looking for challenges, and this is another challenge that I'll step up and we'll get after.
Absolutely, I have no doubt this can be another championship caliber staff. Coach Richardson, what brought you to San Antonio? Can you hear us okay?
Jeremy, are we speaking to Jeremy Richardson right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think he just froze. All right, we'll see if we can get Coach Richardson back, but we'll go ahead and move on to the big subject of the day. Oh, sorry.
I wanted to add something. Coach Fuller's a very humble man. He's very successful, but make no mistake, he is by far the best offensive coordinator in the United States. And, he has the ability not only to, and I mean that sincerely, Coach, he has the ability to not only create unbelievable game plans, strategies, and all that, But in addition to that, what he brings to the table is like Coach Johnson having a relationship with them. Players have a relationship with him. Players want to play for him. And we're going to be announcing some in the next 12 hours. These are just the caliber players that want to be around him. Okay. He's an excellent football coach. After every game, I always said, we got to figure out a way to work together. And we would kind of laugh about it. But, serendipitously, it happened. And it's a great thing. Right. So the same with Coach Johnson. He brings him into the fold. I build a relationship with Coach Johnson. Love the guy. You're talking about a staff right now, guys, between Chris McKinney, Coach Fuller, and Coach Johnson and myself. So we had 4 head coaches on this team, right? Basically. And I love that. I love that they've all been there, done it, and are with one common goal. They have that head coach mentality. They have that coordinator mentality. They have that position coach mentality. We're all position coaches at the end of the day. You can call us whatever you want to call us, but we're all, we're good at something, and we bring that to the table. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted everyone to know that Coach Fuller, he is the cherry on top of this deal. Okay. What he brings to the table, I can't wait to see him light up the scoreboard in the IFL. It's going to be exciting.
I mean, I would firmly agree. We got Coach Richardson back, so we'll go ahead and get his thoughts as well. Coach Richardson, what brought you to San Antonio?
Well,
Can you hear us okay?
first things first,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
from San Antonio, Texas. So, it made, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you just fine. I had to pull over because I'm commuting to the Dallas Cowboys game for the day. But, first things first is my love for arena football. And I couldn't wait to be on this podcast with these coaches. And just like I couldn't wait to be part of the staff. Once I found out the coaches that were going to be on this staff, it was very exciting for me because I won 2 championships with Coach Manaz for one. And I played for Coach Johnson when he had his stint in San Antonio, Texas, before he came back this time. Me and Coach Fuller, when you play football and you coach football and stuff like that, you beef with the best, and my biggest competition was Coach Fuller and Coach Johnson, and I always envisioned myself being a part of, coaching staffs like with guys like them, because they're the most biggest problem that I had going against in the indoor league so far, and being from San Antonio and having the opportunity to coach there again with this type of staff. It was a really hard situation for me because I wasn't going to say no to that. These guys, you want to soak in knowledge from the greats, and this is a great opportunity for me to get that done because I want to be around the best and I want to learn from the best. And obviously, knowing John Wayne and Mr. Rackler and them, and bringing in Coach Manaz, I know that Manaz is all about winning championships. So for me to think that I was going to leave San Antonio and then San Antonio turn around and win a ring without me, that would have been tragic. So it was an easy decision for me. And honestly, the IFL was where I started my indoor career. I played there for 2 years. I made all league my second year there, and I was a part of the number 1 defense that has ever been in the IFL. So with guys that want to go to the next level and want to show their talents, to be able to play defense and be blessed to coach D line and linebackers in the IFL, there's certain rules that aren't in the NAL and in the AFL. Like the D line can drop back. So as a defensive lineman, you always have a dream of getting an interception and taking it back for a touchdown. And these guys have that opportunity to do that. So I'm excited to be able to coach them and give them that chance.
Absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and start with you, Coach Richardson? I mean, why don't you give us your thoughts on the move to the IFL from the NAL for the San Antonio Gunslingers?
Man, it was a brilliant idea. When you look at all of the teams that are involved in the IFL, you look at all the indoor leagues around. I've been blessed to be able to play in all 3 of them. So I started in the IFL, ended up in the AFL, and then I came back and played in the NAL and coached in the NAL with Manas. And the IFL is the strength of the indoor leagues right now. You see all of the cities that are involved, the Jacksonvilles, the Arizona Rattlers, the Bay Area, the NAS teams, the Gunslingers, and now the Albany Firebirds. This is the cream of the crop in indoor. So um, we're really, really blessed. And I think that Mr. Rackler and Coach Manas came together and made a very, very good decision because the IFL is where you're going to play against the best. And if we're going to win a championship, you want to be against the best. And I think we're in the best position to do that.
Absolutely, I would agree. Coach Manas, let's go to you next. What were your thoughts for the IFL move?
Well, from a stability standpoint right now, and I'm not taking away anything from any other league, but from a stability standpoint, it was a very smart business move for Mr. Rackler. Okay. Um, in that aspect. From a visual league, I don't know if you saw our press conference, but the commissioner mentioned that we've doubled our viewership every year for the last 2 years. Okay. That's another thing that the kids love. They're playing in front of more people. And also that creates opportunities as well. But at the end of the day, it would be really fun to go against some of those teams. I've coached in that league before, and it would be really fun to go against some of those coaches. They're really good coaches. They've got some really good coaches there, and it would be fun to go head to head with them. I know as a staff we'll get challenged every week, so I'm looking forward to the competition. I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and I think, as much as I loved Iron Man to a certain degree, I'm going to really love seeing athletes just be athletes at their position and not having to, you're 100% offensive tackle guard and you're maybe a 60% defensive end or nose guard. I'd love to see the 100% going against the 100%, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So competition, coaches, the teams, obviously the stability, all those things come into play. And at the end of the day, I work for the pleasure of my ownership, and that's where we want to go. So that's where we're at.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, this move, I think, for the IFL and for the team is great. I mean, honestly, you couldn't ask for a better organization to join the IFL and couldn't ask for a better league to join, quite honestly. Coach Johnson, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm excited about the opportunity to coach in the IFL. I've never coached in the IFL. I've had an opportunity maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. There are a couple of teams that give me a call, and I started looking into the game. I'm excited about the opportunity to do something different. Like Coach Fuller said a little earlier, I'm a little strange like him. I like challenges, and I'm looking forward to it.
Perfectly fair. Coach Fuller, what are your thoughts on joining the IFL?
I think it's a good move by San Antonio. The stability of the league, they've shown to be around for a long time. They also got, like Coach Manana said, they have a bunch of good coaches. Good coaches, good players. So every week in and week out, you're gonna be in the dogfight. But again, the challenge of doing something a little bit different. I've always studied the IFL, so it's nothing that new to me. But it's definitely going to be interesting going against some of these different defenses and things like that. A little more outdoor style. So, I'm all for that.
That's perfectly fair. I was excited to see the news. I mean, between the adding Jacksonville and now adding San Antonio, I think the IFL in general is adding a level of competition that wasn't necessarily there before, and it's going to be very interesting, especially with the staff that you guys have assembled here. I mean, it's amazing to see all the different talented coaches from all the different spots that came in and ultimately assembled the staff. I mean, Coach, when you first started assembling this staff, did you have guys in mind? I mean, were these your first choices? I mean, I'm sure they all ultimately were, but
I got to tell you, every outside of Coach Johnson, because I didn't know he was available, okay, at the time. But if I had, he would have been a first choice. Um, but out of the very first call I made was to Coach Fuller. Um, I'm a believer that you win championships with one having the best quarterback you could possibly have, and then you got to have a guy who tells him what to do, okay, on a daily basis, and nurtures his talent and develops him and builds that bond and relationship with him. I'm more of a defensive person by trade, and so I wanted to get somebody that, you always go for the best of the best. And we had some conversations about it. And Coach Fuller's a bright man. He's gonna take his time and make decisions. But we kind of came to a fairly easy agreement at one point where I think we wanted to build something pretty special, you know. And then of course he brought on the name of Coach Johnson. And after I talked to Coach Johnson for about 10 minutes, that was a slam dunk. That was just a relationship I wanted to develop. As far as Chris McKinney will be helping. I call him a co-defensive coordinator, if you will, and he's going to be working with primarily with the back end, the defensive backs. And Chris and I, like Coach Richardson, we have a relationship. One, I coached Jay Rich as a player, but then I also had the opportunity when he said he wanted to get into coaching. And I think all of us as coaches have done this, but I always try to give them an opportunity when they're getting done to help transition them into the profession of coaching. I think it's a responsibility we all have as coaches, especially old ones like me, right? That you want to share the craft, the next generations. But so the biggest part was, I think, one, when you pick a staff, you pick loyal, ethical, high integrity people. We stress that we're not going to sign players that don't have strong character. Okay. We stress that the only players we are going to sign are people that are high character that, oh, by the way, happen to be great football players, not the other way around. And what kind of coach would I be if I didn't have a staff that emulated that? So these are all better men than I am, and I'm lucky to be around them. All right. So I just want to continue to cultivate that kind of culture, if you will. I know the Racklers and James want to cultivate that kind of culture. We had a staff meeting this week, an all staff meeting, and we have a term that we've implemented. We call it winning the day, winning the week, winning the month. I don't know as if there's a whole lot of teams around the country in September doing all staff meetings, working on our store, our merchandising, our season tickets, our player personnel, our practice facilities, our housing, our food for our guys, all that in September. Okay. And we're going to just continue to help that grow. So we want when our coaches come in, we're going to all, oh, by the way, we're going to all be in, we're going to fly all the coaches in, then we'll be in San Antonio on the 28th. We're going to have an open tryout in San Antonio, one of two. This one now primarily for guys that have played out of school, and then we'll have another one down the road in January for the kids coming out of college. But, doing those things that we're doing now and, developing our practice facility and doing all the other stuff. I want the coaches to come in for the season and all the heavy lifting's done. Now all you have to do is work on football. And the second thing is I want the players to come in and feel like they're getting a pro football experience, not some semi-pro thing where, you get a T-shirt and a pat on the back and say, hey, welcome. No, we have a huge barbecue plan the day they come in, a team dinner. We have all their swag ready for them. We're going to have everything laid out for them. We're going to have great housing for them, great food for them. We're going to do all those things because we may not be the NFL, but this is the NFL to some of us, right? So give them a pro experience, treat them well, and that's what we're going to do. And our only condition is be the best version of yourself when you get here, and let's win as many games as we can. So
I definitely love that thought process. We have a question for you in particular in the chat. This Week in Arena Ball asks, do you think the change from the Ironman rebound nets to the IFL style gameplay is going to be a change for you, or will you go right back into coaching? Like, it's no big deal.
Well, me personally,
yeah.
If you knew who we're going to have returning the ball, I'm thrilled. So I'm happy with it. But I'll let Jay Rich answer that because he's going to be an integral part of our special teams.
Okay, sounds good. Coach Richardson, what are your thoughts about joining the IFL that does not have the rebound nets and is a little bit more freestyle kicks?
And like I said, the IFL, the rules, they give these guys opportunity to really show their talents, and that's including the kicker. The Nets, they make the game different. Every league wants to have their own thing that they do different. The IFL, they're more like a CFL type game. They have two receivers coming in motion. You have a lot of guys doing a lot of teams running shotgun, and like y'all talking about, we don't have the nets. So the kickoff returners are going to have a lot of opportunity to catch the ball and go forward, and not have to turn and look for the ball to come off the net, or it hit the bar and give the defense an opportunity to get the ball back. This is a game where it's going to be pretty much straightforward. The best coaches and the best team is going to win. The best players are going to do good, and the ones who aren't ready are going to get exposed. And at the end of the day, that's how a lot of these players and coaches want it. So like I said earlier, the IFL is going to be real exciting this year. It's going to be a lot of good teams, a lot of good players, and a lot of good coaches. And I'm just excited to be a part of the San Antonio organization with this staff and with the roster that we're going to put together.
Absolutely. We got one more question for you in particular, Coach Richardson. Do we know if the Firebirds are coming back to the IFL, and if the Birds' name will be back?
Hey, man, I've heard, you hear the social community is the beast. So, you hear a lot of things in the grapevine. And, I've heard some things about the Firebirds and Albany. And, at the end of the day, man, they're the ops. They're the opposition. So they're going to, if they're going to be in our way, they're going to get ran over. I'm a really aggressive guy, and I want my guys to be the same way. And I don't want anybody on our staff to care about who we go against. So whether it's Albany, whether it's Carolina, whether it's whoever, Tulsa, we're trying to get out of there with a W.
Absolutely. Coach Fuller, I think this question is more for you. Krish, your guy Krish, asks, who are you targeting for quarterback? Is it Sam Castronova, or are you going after Malik Henry?
We're going to keep that a secret for now. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. There's a lot of guys who want to play in San Antonio, but we're gonna keep that a secret for right now. Even though you're my man, Chris, I can't let you know. We're gonna keep that under wraps until October. But whoever we get, we'll work together and we'll put some points up on the board.
That's completely fair. So when can we expect player announcement signings to start? Player signing announcements.
Yeah. It will. Well, I'm doing the transaction reports right now, so we'll do the first announcement tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and that'll be QB1.
Oh, okay, very nice. So there you go, Krish. You'll get your answer for that quarterback question 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So definitely make sure you tune into the San Antonio Gunslingers Facebook page and all their other social media sources. We got another question for Coach Richardson, given that he's headed to the Cowboys game. He says, are you going to bet on the Cowboys today?
Thousands of dollars on the Cowboys, man. '80s baby. I was born in. I got my Charles Haley jersey right here. A lot of people don't even know who he is, you know. So I got my Emmitt Smith shoes in here, man. I've lost a lot of money dealing with the Cowboys. A couple years ago, when the Eagles were down about 2-3 games with about 4 or 5 games left, one of my buddies that absolutely hates the Cowboys wanted to bet me $1,000, oil field guy, that the Cowboys weren't going to win the division, and I was like, easy bet, 1,000 it is, you know. And Jason Garrett pooped it, man. We lost 3-4 games in a row, and the Eagles won the division. What a great bet for my buddy, because he definitely won $1,000, and I was building a motor for my race car, and I ended up having to go with a whole nother shop because I lost that $1,000. So yeah, man, I'm a cowboy. I'm a cowboy, and I would bet on the Cowboys today, even though I'm betting Ezekiel Elliott has a good game as well. So I'm hoping for the best. I hope Zeke has a good game. I hope the Cowboys win a game. But nowadays, I'm really not into betting unless it's on myself. So I don't think I'm gonna bet with the Cowboys today.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. Coach Johnson, are there any players in particular you look to bring in for your defensive line this year?
Well, actually, I'll be the offensive line, and as a matter of fact, I am in the process of looking for some centers and an offensive line across the board. But no names in particular. But we have a couple things lined up that we're going to announce as a club, as a ball club. But I'm in the hunt for great guys to help us win. No specific names at this point, but we're putting it together.
Are there any traits in particular you look for in an offensive lineman for any free agents out there that might be looking for a job?
I like guys that that are big, physical, have great feet, and have somewhat of an edge. And what I mean by that is, really competitive, likes to finish, likes to guys that like to pound the ball, like to pound defensive linemen. Those kind of guys with those kind of mentalities, and of course, guys that are smart, that understand what's going on. When you call a play, they understand. Oh, I understand why he called this play. We want those kind of guys. And again, lean on them, push on them, and shove them around.
Absolutely, I love that. So definitely looking forward to seeing who you guys bring in this season. I'm sure that that quarterback announcement is going to be one that's met with a lot of fanfare, I'm sure. Any final thoughts from you guys before I get you out of here? Coach Manas, we'll start with you first.
Season tickets went on sale actually Friday, so we're encouraging everybody there to in the San Antonio area to step up and be a part of this team this year. The second part is that, like I said, we're going to be having an open tryout. And that's where, like Coach Johnson just described, there's a little nuance that we should probably talk about with the IFL. And that is, there's a veteran rule. You can only have so many veterans on your team. So it's a great opportunistic league for young talent. We're thinking that we'll probably have our 7 veterans, and then we're looking at 14 younger players with a little less experience. So that takes up the majority of your team. And I love what Coach Fuller said in a meeting we had. We had a coaches meeting the other day, and he said, don't be afraid to coach young guys, right? And I love that because that's true. A lot of times you'll get a great effort out of a young man versus a guy who maybe's been around a little bit, and you'll get some different attitude and you get that edge Coach Johnson was talking about out of those kids. They got something to prove. So that part of it. But yeah, overall, we're excited, and we encourage everyone to follow us as we grow in this throughout the off season. We'll be starting our coaches show next Tuesday. It'll be the only taped one for a while, and then it'll go live on Wednesday. And then from then on, we'll be live every Wednesday from San Antonio. So that'll be fun. We'll have the coaches on, obviously, a lot, and players as they come on. And So there's going to be a lot happening, and we just encourage you to follow us and stay tuned. It's going to be a show.
I have zero doubt. Coach Johnson, any final thoughts before we let you get out of here?
Excited about being back in San Antonio with this great staff. Really excited about it because, again, when I was there before, I told them that I was going to try to bring a championship to San Antonio. And now I'm going back with a clique that I really feel that we have an opportunity to do that with, and have an opportunity to be able to finish that and do that. It's a blessing in disguise. And again, to work with these guys, I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to this upcoming year.
Absolutely. Coach Fuller, what are your final thoughts for the evening?
Just happy to be on a squad and be with a staff that loves the game of football. I'm blessed. So anytime I can coach football, anytime I can help some guys out, maybe change a life here or there, give some guys some knowledge, I'm all for that. So coaching is a passion. I love it. It's what I do. It's in my blood. And it's good to be able to coach with guys you appreciate, you care about, and that they'll have your back as well. So I'm blessed to be able to be in this position and look forward to having a great season.
Absolutely. Coach Richardson, any final thoughts for you?
Man, it's just a whole bunch of excitement over here, man. I learned from Coach Manaz. When you're on a coaching staff and you put a coaching staff together, you want guys that you love because you want to love your coaches. And I'm blessed to say I already love these guys. I've never been coached. I've never coached with Coach Fuller, but I love this guy. He's a true warrior. He's a successful guy, reigning head coach of the year. And like I say, I've been with every other coach that's on this staff, whether it's playing with C-Mac, being coached by Coach Johnson, playing for Coach Manaz and coaching with him. Man, I'm with a staff that I'm really blessed to be with. And we've already got the love part taken care of. And now we can just build from that. When you want to win a championship, you definitely want to be in love with the coaches that you're with. So we've already got over a big hump that a lot of other teams got to start with. So I'm excited. I really am. I feel like we're already ahead of the game.
I would agree. Thank you guys so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Super excited about what you're building there in San Antonio already. I told Coach Manas, and I believe I told Coach Fuller as well, that I don't think I've ever seen a staff with this much experience and talent. And quite honestly, I think you guys are on the right path to a championship in 2024 for sure. So
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Best of luck in 2024. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, fellas. I'll let you ball.
Changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.